Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim here with me to discuss everything that's happening with South Africa in the UK. The men and the women's team are in the UK, Tim, and one team's doing really well, better than we expected, and the other team's just a little bit more disappointing. How are you doing?
Yes, yeah, all good, mate, all good. I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's good to see the men performing as well as they have been, and I think that would be my main focus. But yeah, all good, all good.
Cool, Tim. So obviously the Momentum Proteas lost 3-0 in the ODI series. What do you make of that? We thought we'd get a bit of a revenge with them, and it never happened. It feels like England have turned on the style and are playing better cricket, or way better cricket, actually.
Well, undoubtedly they're playing the better cricket, but I think we have to realise that there are issues off the field that are affecting the women's side, just as was happening with the men with the previous board. I think what's happening with the Lizelle retirement and the refusal of, or in her eyes, the refusal of the NOC to play the 100, it is having an effect on the players. We just have to look at the last performance. There was a catch down to Steyn and Laron, went straight through her hands. There was a caught and bowled, very easy caught and bowled, but for Masbate Class dropped. There was a run out, easy run out, ball bounced twice through to Chetty, and at 2 or 3 grabs at it, all the time in the world to get that ball and take the run out. I think those 3 instances just showed that this is not the Momentum Proteas side we've seen the last 12 to 18 months. It's a completely different side, and it's impossible to say it's got nothing to do with stuff happening off the field, because it's come completely out of the dark. It's not something that's been progressing over the last month or two, because they have been playing well. They have been doing good performances, but in this series, they've been well below the standard that we would expect, even though England have been good.
Yeah, the other thing is the bowling. It's just been very toothless. I know Shubnam Ishmael and Ayakaka didn't play in the test, and they're carrying a few niggles. Shubnam was carrying a niggle. She's back now, but but the worry for me is that step down from them, the replacements of them, and the ability for South Africa to actually break through and take more wickets. And even if obviously the wickets they're getting are a lot flatter than what you expect in England generally, you would have thought that next group of Klaas and Sipune, maybe even Nadine de Klerk would be a lot more, would get a lot more joy, but it hasn't been. And it's also surprising with this whole NOC thing that there are many other players who play the 100 that don't have this issue. So it's quite interesting. Maybe Lizelle went the extreme way of retiring, whereas the others are trying to solve it internally and still being a little bit respected. But that story is going to come out of the ether sometime soon. But I just hope, obviously, they start the T20 series tonight, that we get a much closer series this time. I know T20 always brings people back in, but I really do hope that so South Africa kind of brings it up. I know at the top we're going to miss Lizelle Lee. I think this is the format we'll miss her a lot. But Mignon comes back, so I think that's an exciting thing as well. So I really do wish Momentum Proteas all the best, and I hope it's not another whitewash, because I predicted a whitewash on the men's side. I didn't predict a whitewash on the women's side, so I'm kind of losing a lot of money here.
Yeah, look, it can only get better. That's the only positive we could take. It can't really get any worse because this is as bad as I've seen them play for 4 or 5 years. I don't remember the last time they played as badly as they are playing at the moment. Um, it's not that they're bad players. It's they're just playing really really poorly. But you're
Yeah.
right. The backup in the bowling department has been showing up, particularly in the test match. It does concern me going forward whether there is that next breed of youngsters. It feels like this is really the end of a generation, and that next generation is going to take a little while to come into the side and make a name for themselves.
Yeah. So now let's move on to the other thing we want to talk about. Obviously, is this the test, the ODI series? Obviously, the Proteas are in the UK. This series does not count for any Super League points. So, as I said on Twitter, and everyone's fighting me, but like we'll talk about that. It doesn't matter when it doesn't matter when the games don't matter. South Africa show up, and this has been the case ever since I've watched this team. Bilateral series that have no implications whatsoever between a World Cup. They will be the best team in the world. When it matters, something happens. And my frustration is that I feel as though Mark is stumbling on a formula, Tim, that could make this team competitive against the harder hitting and the higher scoring teams of the world. However, it's at a time where it doesn't matter. I wish this was for Super League points. We need the points. But I'm liking the formula he's trying to do. I'm not a fan of it, but I kind of see that he's stumbling on something that he can replicate going forward in a style of cricket that can accommodate the type of players we have. I think for me, the two spinners thing works. I don't get why people don't want Shamsi in the side. Shamsi is very important, especially in those middle overs. Um, I'm liking the fact that Ngili's back and he's looking good. Anuk Nokia is my worry. Um, and you know, Tim, I'm not a fan of Aiden. I think he's been given a little bit too much rope than I would have liked, and from his primary job, I don't think he's done that well. But if he's going to be your all-rounder, averaging a 27, I don't think there's ever been a team in world cricket that has an all-rounder that averages 27 because Ben Stokes just retired. And even he didn't. I think he averaged like 34 in ODI cricket or something weird like that. And so I think it kind of works to have that extra batter that is Aiden, that averages 27, and you can always bank on his potential, which has been my biggest issue. I don't like selecting on potential. But if I'm Vian Liber, I'm a little bit angry. If I'm Tristan Stubbs, I'm a little bit pissed because I think as an all rounder, if you're gonna look for a guy like Aiden who averages 27, I think those other guys have a case to make for themselves, but that's another situation. But he batted really well in ODI one. The 76 was really good. The only problem I had with him and Rassi was they attacked too late. I would have loved for them to attack in over 40. If you have two wickets, lost two wickets and by over 35, you should be attacking. You should try and get David Miller in for those final 15 overs, or if not, punish the bowling attack. And I felt that the team was 25, 30 runs short. I thought we actually could have gotten to about 350, 360. I think if we attacked a little bit earlier, we could have gone to 370. But like, I don't buy the whole Rassi strike rate thing is too low. I think Rassi just is very important to the side because he's your backstop. And everyone needs to like kind of build around him. He always catches up, but I think for me, I was really happy. I think we found some sort of formula that we can apply in the India series and the England series and the Netherlands series to see if we can't get into the World Cup. So the only obviously question is, I'd have loved to see different combinations come through, not just the same old batting lineup that we've seen over the past 2 years that hasn't been that successful. But look, they scored 300, and I've always wanted South Africa to score 300 as a minimum to keep themselves competitive. So for me, that's where I saw it. How did you see that game?
I'm going to be on the positive side for a change. I get all your points. All your points do make sense. They do make sense. But I'm going to say we needed to find a way to play in this format. This format is the one format where Belgium was really struggling with team combinations, the way they want to play, really behind the 8 ball. I would say since he's becoming the coach, this was the format that he was really struggling with. And I don't really know why, but the fact remains that he was. I liked the way they went about it. If you looked at their approach, they were 81 for 1 after 15. So that doubling up, that's 160 after 30 overs. You're looking at 320. That was an excellent approach. They went hard at the start, where in previous games they've built an innings. They've got to 40 after 10, and they've built around that, and then gone big at the end. I also felt that they actually did go stronger and more aggressive, Markram and Rassie, a little bit earlier. I did think that they were at the 35, 36 overs. They were scoring at 7, 8 and over, I think. So they did go that little bit earlier than the South African team had been used to, which I noticed. The Rassie situation, I think he's been told exactly what Twitter's been telling him. And Twitter, 9 times out of 10, Twitter was wrong. 9 times out of 10, Twitter was wrong. Let's put that out there first. But on this occasion, they were right. He needed to be more aggressive. It mattered within the South African context. Him scoring 18 of 36 and getting out within the South African side did matter. It doesn't matter in the England side so much, or in the Australian side, but it did matter with the South African side, because we rely a lot on him. But he was scoring at 6 and over pretty much from the get-go. It was pretty much, I think he was 36 of 34. So he knew. And the other thing is, the important thing is, particularly in the white ball formats, you're going to see these wickets are all going to be pretty much the same. It's been a dry summer. The pitches are hard. The pitches have been flat. They were flat against New Zealand. They're flat against us at the moment. So you're going to see, I think, tomorrow 300 plus again. Where we were after 30 overs, I did think 350. I genuinely thought that we were 20 short. And when we bought our first 10 overs, I thought, I told you, 20 short, boys. This is not good. The bowling wasn't great. Nokia is a concern. You got 4 wickets, 3 of which were 10, 9 and 8, right at the end of the innings. And while 10, 9 and 8 did not enjoy his extra pace, I am a little bit worried about Anrik coming back from the injury. Maybe he'll be 100% by the test matches and he'll be a menace, but I am a little bit concerned. The other thing is, I think, I'm not going to go into too much, but I do think that Maharaj has been superb as captain. I really do think. I think even if you go as far back as the England A game, when they lost the first game, they obviously went back and did a bit of research the second game. They saw that Will Smith didn't like spin, started with spin, got him out for naught. The two spin option is, as you say, a positive thing. I think it's a good thing going forward.
Well,
yeah. Well, let's say 2.5. 2.5. I think it's a good thing. Shamsi is one of the best, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. But I get what people are saying. He tends to go, and people like that are going to go for runs. And when he has a game where he doesn't get wickets, he's going to get that extra pressure. So if he bowls 9 overs for 60 and gets 1 wicket, people are going to ask questions. But long term, fantastic bowler. And I think people need to look at the bigger picture. Look at the
Yeah.
wickets he's taken over the last 12 months, not over one
Yeah.
game.
But
Um,
if you look at where the game is with regarding to spinners, you need that attacking spinner. And
yeah,
Maharaj or Markham are not those options.
no,
He is that option for you.
yeah,
And unless you want to bring Imran Tahir back, which that's not happening, who else
no,
is an attacking spinner in South Africa?
yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Markham's a lucky boy. I've been he's a lucky boy. Facts are there. He's a very lucky individual. Played well,
Yeah.
but the stats, he's a lucky boy. Let's put it that way.
Isaac Clausen can bowl off spin too, guys. Like, why can't he bowl spin?
No, 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 no. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Okay. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
I think he needs to send. I don't know who he needs to send a whole basket, because right now, honestly, I'm like, okay, now he's batting at 4. I don't think he's the number 4 we need, because I think at a World Cup you're gonna want your number 4 to give you those big runs. He's shown us over the past 6 years that he can't do that in ODI cricket. Yes, the 76 is great, but 38 innings, 4 half centuries. So I don't know. I'm not sure that when we need him to score runs, big runs, will he be able to do that? So I think for me I'm okay to carry him through to the World Cup and hope he does it. But I'm at a point where I'm like, maybe there's another option out there in South Africa. But the 6th bowling option just makes everything more complicated, because Markham's made himself a JP Drilling, and
Yeah.
JP at
Yes.
the back of his career
Yeah.
lived off of this.
Yeah.
And
But
even Bear Hardin had a moment where he could turn his arm over a little bit. So, look, it's the way we play our cricket, and that's how it's going to be. Just you want consistency from him. I don't want another 30 and out
yeah.
in the next years. Yeah, but the other person who's creating a little bit of a situation for, well, not a situation, but like is Yanaman Malan. Had a great 2021. 2022 is not looking that good. Everyone's now trying to figure out, when Timber comes back, how does this team look like? Some people are saying it's to enjoy the cricket, but we wouldn't have this podcast if we didn't ask the question. What do you make of his performances? And I think it's between him and Heinrich when Timber comes back. Who do you select to be the 12th man in that case? But what's going on with Yanaman, and what do you want from him?
I like him. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was good enough for the Proteas. Thought he played really, really well in the first ODI. He will be disappointed with the dismissal. As I said before, these pitches are flat. These pitches are there for making runs. I think all 3 ODIs are going to be 300 plus. Team batting first if they get themselves in. Also, with the fact that England's bowling is not the best at the moment, with lots of injuries. I think he's a quality guy. I do think going forward, though, he's probably going to be a 12th man. And he's going to be the guy who's going to play the odd game here and there. It will be interesting to see whether he will be okay with that. But I do think that it's probably, with Timber coming back, because Timber is coming back, people. No, you need to relax. Timber is coming back. Timber's the captain. So prepare for that. The facts are there.
Can I ask you this, right? Timber normally prefers to bat at 3. Yeah, we saw that with the India series. He didn't open. He batted at 3. Did quite well there. And Heinrich was the one who sat out. And Rassi was batting at 4. Rassi's enjoying batting at 3. We saw that in that last game. So what do you say to Timber when he comes and be like, look, Cap, who you're gonna have to open? Or is it go back to number 3, Yanaman sits there, but it looks like you are wanting Yanaman out, Timber to open and Rassi bat at 3.
I think so. I think Timber's gonna have to open. I think going forward, that's gonna have to be the thing. I think at the moment things can change. Klaasen is a hot and cold player. Again, hugely talented, can win you a game on his own. He's really explosive when he gets going.
Yes.
But he doesn't get going as often as we would like. But at the moment, he's playing really well. At the moment, the things are in his court. If his form continues, then he's got to be in that 11 for me, because he can really go 10s, 11s, 12s without too much difficulty. If his form tips, then Janaman Milan comes in, and then you rejig it.
Can I give you a little bit of a question, right? So, fine, yes, we're keeping Heinrich in the 11, right? Is there a world where David Miller bats at 4, Aiden bats at 5 and 6 with Heinrich Klaasen? Is there a world where that could happen?
It's possible. I don't like. I'm not a proponent of moving people from positions that they are successful because we think they might be good there. I'm, in a general sense, I'm not keen on that. So, Quota de Kock, fantastic technical batsman. Let's put him up at number 4 in Test cricket. When he was available. I never, ever called for that. I never believed that. It's not something if somebody is doing an exceptional job in their position, they're happy in that position, the team is doing well with that combination, I say leave it. There can be situations, there can be games when you want to do that, yes. But as a general rule, I don't like doing that sort of movement.
Okay. So now obviously we got the news that Andile Petlugai will be out for the entire ODI series. Obviously he was the concussion. Glenn Petros came in as a concussion substitute in that game. I actually enjoyed Andile before he collided with the captain. I know he bowled really well. I think I've always rated him as a bowler. I know everyone wants him out the side because he can't bat, but I think he in that period up until the 2019 World Cup and a year or two afterwards, he was our best middle overs bowler in that period, and he took quite a lot of wickets. I think him and Shams were at the top. So I always respect Andile from his bowling, and I think this summer in England would have been great for him in ODIs because I think he would have gotten a lot of wickets. Even in that game on 2 days ago, I think he would have gotten a lot of wickets. So who replaces Andile in the 11? Do you go Marco, do you go Dwayne, or do you give me a left field situation?
No, Marco. Marco's the future. Marco is the future. Marco is the guy that's going to play, assuming he wants to, all 3 formats a year from now.
Are you not worried that Marco doesn't have cutters and slower balls?
He's got them. He might not have the variety of a Curran, for example, but he's a better bowler in my opinion than say a Sam Curran. I think he's got an effective slow ball. He might not have 6 variations of it, but he has got that effective slow ball, which will be useful on these flat wickets. Because if you just do what Unrick does, chances are you're just gonna get carted all over the field. So I would go Marco.
Any changes to the game, to the team tomorrow?
No, same. That would be exactly the same. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I would see
I
The
want
question is,
that pop.
can Unrick get their bowling loads up
Yeah, yeah.
for the
You
test
want,
match?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Because Lungi
yeah.
bowled really well. Like he
Look,
bowled really well on
yeah.
that one too.
Luki looks fantastic. Andrik less so, but you hope that Andrik's overs behind him, the more he plays, he'll get into it. But as you say, Luki looks superb. Luki looks really good. He looks fit, looks in rhythm. It's good to see.
What do you make of our opponents? Let's talk about our opponents a little bit. I thought England would actually get that total. I looked at Jason Roy. I was like, yes, they're going through a little bit. He in ODI cricket, he comes out of it. He does it more often than not instead of this little slump he's in. Um, they look very weak, light in that batting lineup, even with Joe Root.
Their problem at the moment is their batsmen. They're not the top order. The top four are as strong as you can get. Their problem is the lower downs. So you got people like Livingston and Moen Ali. Now, they would be in my T20 squad, no problems, no questions asked. If I picked a T20 squad tomorrow, they'd both be in there. I'm surprised Moen hasn't quite caught on because he's been playing cricket for a long time, a long career. But Livingston, he gets the 10 and he can't help himself. He can't say, let's bat for half an hour and then I can play my natural game. He wants to go big from ball one. And in 50 overs, you just can't do that. Not unless you're into Selwak, which, sorry, but he isn't. So they've got guys in the batting they're not batting like one-day cricket. They're not batting one-day cricket mode. They are playing far too aggressive in their approach in their batting. But for me, their bowling is the problem. And they have
But
got an excuse.
it's always
Huh?
been their problem. It's always been their problem. I'm never, even at the World Cup, I didn't rate their bowling. I just always thought they had a power pack batting lineup.
At least now they've got an excuse. They've got 5 fast bowlers, all injured. 2 of which are out for the season. So they have got that excuse. If this team had an Archer, if this team had an Ollie Stone, if this team had a Saj Mahmood, it would be a different. We might still win, but they'd be a lot more effective as a bowling unit. At the moment, Potts, okay, it was his debut, but I'm not convinced he's one-day cricket quality. Our very own Bryden Cross, I know they like him. They like him a lot, and I know why they like him a lot. I think he's not quite ready there. I think he's too erratic. There's putting a lot of pressure on him without a leader in that attack. It's almost like they need Stuart Broad to come out of retirement just for the series. It's almost like that.
But I think the good thing for them is that they don't have this series is not for World Championship points or Super League points. So I think they can just kind of go around this and not necessarily resort to bringing Stuart Broad back. Um, I do get you, but I think England will have more questions answered about their bowling attack at the end of this than necessarily South Africa getting any closer, apart from the fact that maybe they found a formula to try and beat India in India and also beat England back at home. I do think next year in February when we play England, I do think England will cause problems for us. And I'm worried about that because my only thing with this team, I think we have a ceiling. Whereas England doesn't have a ceiling from a batting lineup perspective because, like, for instance, right, and that's what I'm going to ask you, who replaces Ben Stokes on the side? And because I like obviously Ben hasn't had he's had a great ODI career up until 2019, but after that it's just been obviously he's had his fair share of breaks in the game and we've seen all the things that he's gone through. But who comes in? Is it an all round? Is it a batter? Will they miss him? How much will they miss him?
Yeah, look, I think they're going to have to go with a batsman. They've got enough bowling options. The problem is their options are not the best. They don't have a leader in that attack, but I think batsmen will come in for Ben Stokes. For example, Ben hasn't been bowling for ages. And when he bowled in that last game, he looked like he was on his last legs. He really looked like he was finished. So I think the batsmen will come in, and my boy, they've got so much batsmen. That's the fortunate thing for him. Their pool of talent is just the one thing we could might be a problem at the moment. One thing that's not a problem is their batting talent. Bowling talent's a bit light, but their batting talent is enormous. As we saw with the England A squad. We saw those guys. We saw them. And they smacked us around in the first game. So I think it'll be a batsman. If I was an England supporter, I wouldn't be too worried. There's still a fair bit away for the World Cup, working out combinations and things. I think they'll be alright come the World Cup.
Okay, so what's your prediction for tomorrow, and what do you think the pass score will be?
England made, okay, it was against Afghanistan, but England made nearly 400 3 years ago on this ground.
Okay.
I think it's probably gonna be the same. Probably gonna be about 330, 315, something like that. England have to bowl better. They bowled really poorly against us. I was on commentary, just a slight deviation, and Malcolm was on 17, and I said he won't make 30 if this continues. He was throwing his head back in the sky. He was mistiming deliveries. He was getting inside edges down to third man. He was completely at sea. He was really struggling. What do England do? They bring on Liam Livingstone. I don't understand why they're using Livingstone as a bowler. The over goes for 12. The rest is history. All 3 fours from Markham, and Markham's perfectly fine. He's on 30, and the rest is history.
Do you think England's problem is that they've got too many all-rounders?
Yes. Partially. Curran, Ali, Livingstone, and they had Stokes. That's 4. That was. I don't see Livingstone as a Markham. Markham, we make fun of his bowling, but Markham has improved as a bowler. You could see him bowling 4 or 5 overs and not getting tonked around. You could see that happening. Whereas Livingstone, if he does that, to me, it's a surprise. I'm waiting for that rank long hop every over, and it comes every over. Or that full toss.
Whereas batsmen are more aggressive to Markham and they get LBW to straight balls.
Yeah. So Livingstone, yeah.
Look, I think pass score is going to be a little bit high tomorrow. I think it might be 350. I think whoever wins the toss needs to bat first. And I do think that was a really good toss to win by South Africa yesterday. The other thing for me, or 2 days ago, it was Tuesday, sorry. The other thing for me, I honestly do think that, yeah, obviously England's bowling is a problem, but I think you need to. That's why I'm not a fan of carrying the 6th bowler on the idea that I could get an injury, and when an injury happens, everyone says, "Oh, you look." This could have been it. And I look at England, I'm like, just pick your 5 best bowlers. Your top 6 can do the job for you. You know, and if you need 7 and 8 and 9 to win you a game, you're deeper problems. And I think for me that's the strategy that I'd like South Africa to go for. Just pick your best 6 and put your best 5 bowlers. Because if I pick my best 5, I know I'm gonna cause problems and I'm gonna get wickets. Whereas England on the other hand struggle to get wickets with 4 all rounders and 2 frontline bowlers. Yeah, and then so that's where my apprehension's always been about where this game was going. We're leaning too far to the one side of the game, and neglecting the other side of the game for that. And so it's a worry for me, in that. But anyway, um, this week, Tim, we found out that the T20 competition that South Africa are forfeiting those Super League points for against Australia will effectively has teams and a commissioner. First question for you is, obviously commissioner is Graham Smith. First question for you is, what process happened to appoint Graham Smith? And I'm being facetious, by the way.
I know you are. I know you are.
Look, I
No
don't
comment.
want any in
No
December
comment.
court cases coming, and everyone's like, well, Graham wasn't appointed properly.
Yeah,
But
no comment. No comment.
okay, cool. Graham's connections have worked. His WhatsApp group is humming.
It's worked since he was 22 years old. He became South African captain. Every day since then, it's worked. Literally every day.
He's not well. So now we've managed to get 16. And obviously we'll figure out what their names are. But the owners of those franchises, which is what we were, which is what the same structure as the global T20. Just in the global T20, have Pakistani owners as well. And you can go to Willamore Park and see what they did there, because they painted it yellow, because they wanted to have the Benoni's army there. But we've got 6 teams, IPL franchise owned. For me, Tim, the big thing now is, can he get Indian players, even if it's like B team Indian players? But can we get Indian players to play in this tournament? Because if that's the case, we're going to drop into a lot of cash, because we're going to be selling these TV rights to India.
Dope. Sorry, not happening. Not happening.
But Tim, it's clear.
Indian team support Caribbean sides for the Caribbean Premier League. I think it's 3 of their teams.
Yeah.
They don't play there. It won't not happen. It will not happen.
It's in the middle of the Indian cricket.
I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna get. I'll tell you right now. Majority English.
Okay.
It's in January. Pre-season in England is January. Several of the counties are in South Africa in January already anyway. So it makes perfect sense for them to be playing in pre-season competitive cricket leading up to their season against quality opposition. So I could see, for example, a Jason Roy, Alex Hales, Liam Livingston, Moeen Ali playing in our tournament. I'm not saying they're definitely going to come. I'm saying those kinds of players could very well potentially be coming. Tom Banton, who is in the England A side, those kind of players. I think we will probably get. It's going to be interesting to see in terms of what Asian country players we get, because I would imagine at the start their A-list players will go to the UAE tournament. If I'm Hasaranga, I think I'm going to the UAE and not South Africa. I hope I'm wrong. But not necessarily. Because the Big Bash has lost its appeal. It's too long. It's massively long now. It's massively extended. The modern player wants short, fast, quick, and boom. In theory, the Indian owners will have more money to play. So I think that there's a potential that we could get a Shaheen Shah Afridi potentially. There is a potential for that. It'll be interesting to see whether they will sanction Pakistan players, Indian IPL owners. That will be interesting. I hope they do. I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist yet, I really hope they do, because it would be good. It's a really
So
quality.
from a business side, so here's my worry. Okay. Let me not say worry because everyone thinks I'm going to be negative. I love the fact that we're going to try and redo this, right? I liked Global T20, the idea. I liked the Mzansi Super League, even though people said it didn't make money, but it didn't because it was for the masses, and the majority of South Africans got to see it. I really did enjoy it, even with the players we got, because we got those Jason Roys, we got Alex Hales in the MSL, we got that similar caliber of players. So the only difference was that SuperSport pays more money than the SABC. It's a big difference, and CSA couldn't sell the rights internationally, and
Yeah,
that's what SuperSport has the ability to do. So we're hoping that
yeah.
brings in money. The only thing for me is I hope, because everyone thinks it's gonna bring money into the domestic game. This is a separate entity from CSA. CSA is a shareholder here. So yes, they might get dividends, but is that money enough? Well, yes. Not, well, in the MSL, CSA is 100% shareholder, and they were fitting the bill for everything. Now they're not. Sorry, Tim. I think we got lost there.
You froze when you talked about
Yeah.
the just the beginnings of your worries about your concerns, shall we say?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So my thing is that this company's African Cricket Development. If you saw the press release that we saw, at the top, the header, I was like, oh, okay, this is private. This is the side. I like the way it's supposed to be. I just wanted to be replicated for domestic cricket, the red ball and the ODI, because I don't think money is going to be able to go across into the game. I don't think it's going to be feeding the salaries of those 200 players, and I think CSA will still be paying for that. But in essence, this is the type of, and everyone's talking about franchise cricket around the world. This is the only way you can actually get money coming in. So, for instance, if this T20 league, these franchises, had Red Bull teams and ODI teams, right? And you had a Red Bull league running off of this, and a one-day cup league running off of this, and the money was being used to sustain all levels of cricket and every professional player there, with a T20 tournament that just had few internationals. I think that would have been a much better angle to go about it, because there's a massive separation between Red Bull, domestic Red Bull, and ODI, a one day cup, with this T20 tournament. And so that's where my thing is. And so the other question, it doesn't answer, because my thing is this, right? Fine, you're going to have a T20 tournament. It's going to be great. We're going to be a great T20 country. But how does that, and this is what CSA may need to explain to us, how does the success of that league translate into growing the game domestically? Because A, you're going to be producing players who want to play T20 cricket alone, right? Yes,
Yeah.
India, you could say IPLs help them become a better test side, but even that, I think,
Stretch.
is something that yeah. But our 4 day cricket's gonna die. It's already dead. It's dying. You
It's
know,
yeah, yeah,
even now one day
yeah,
cup died. So how
yeah.
does that? How will this tournament translate? And I started to link it through, because we've got a group of professional players. As Tim goes somewhere.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm
I got
listening.
you. I got you. But I don't know how that's going to translate to paying the salaries of professional players, getting who play the Red Bull and one day cup, and how that's going to work, because the fundamental issue is that, and the fundamental problem with CSS finances was they were carrying the domestic game. They are paying the salaries of professional players in each of the provinces, all the provinces, Division 1 and 2. You need to take that cost line off and separate that to make cricket South Africa sustainable. So I want to see how that's going to work, unless that extra revenue line that comes into CSA from the dividends of this thing will help. It will help, certainly help pay that, but I don't know, because you're creating a product that everyone's going to like, but there's also a product that nobody wants to watch. how do we get more people to watch domestic red ball and one day cup? Though, so how do you translate those T20 watches in this league to domestic cricket and grow that and get more sponsors in that? And I think I'm happy that they've done the T20 tournament. I just want to see how that translates. Yes, I get the revenue point and everything else, but how will that help grow our test side, our one-day side going to World Cup, and get younger players coming in? Because as a younger player, you have to be a developed. You have to be that young kid. I don't know what his name is. The kid who played for Mumbai Indians. For you to make it into T20 franchise. Yeah, Deval Brevis. You have to be a Brevis to make it in. But if you're not a Brevis, you're going to be sitting in domestic cricket, earning a salary that you could earn somewhere else much better with the qualifications you have. CSA needs to answer that question. How do we take care of the ordinary professional cricketer who lines the bulk of your test side and not necessarily your T20 side?
Yeah. Like you've hit the nail on the head there. I got a lot of criticism when I tweeted about it. I get it. I get it from a financial point of view. I do. I'm not stupid. I know Cricket South Africa needs the money, and I know it needs it badly. I get it. I get why they've gone down this road. 100% I get it. I just wish we could have gone down a different road. I just wish that we could have gone down an element of the MSL with the money. I really wish that had backing. If that had backing, I think that it could have been something very special. This might be very special. My concern is, will this become more important than everything else in South African cricket? Will this become? I know. But where is the one-day cup and the four-day series going to be 5 years from now? I know everybody's saying that we needed to be going down the private road, and maybe because of the mistakes that we made, because of the errors that we made in the last 5-6 years, we probably did have to do it. I get that. I look at the formats that I enjoy the most. The Vitality Blast, the Big Bash before it expanded. Both of them are owned by the ECB or Cricket Australia, and both of them, since their inception, have won World Cups directly from that. That England side, a white ball side, it became so powerful and so strong and won the T20 and one-day cups in large part because of the success of Vitality Blast. That's the same with the Big Bash. Before they expanded, it was extremely successful within a price cap, within a certain budget, and they were able to make their international side extremely successful. They've just won the T20 World Cup. They've just won the last T20 World Cup with all the players that were in that squad that we were saying, not good enough. They came from that Big Bash. So I hope it works. I really do. But for me, and I will always stand up for, I hope investment comes in for the guys that are only going to be playing one-day cup and four-day series. That I'm really concerned about.
That's how you sustain cricket in South Africa.
What is going to happen with the Neil Brunts of this world? What's going to happen to those kinds of players? The Aubrey Swanepoels. What's going to happen to those, the Ernest Kems, and the several other players? That's, and I hear the owners are going to put money within the community. Fantastic. If that can somehow, from the community basis and the setups that they do, if that can somehow filter through to the grassroots, fantastic. Then I'll come up here and I'll say, fantastic, it was a good thing, and we did the right way. I am a little bit, I do am a little bit concerned, but it's certainly going to change things. It's certainly going to change things. And I am very happy that the top brass are going to get more exposure from this. This is what they desperately needed. So you needed, outside of the Marco Janssens and the Devon Brevers, who are always going to come through. It's the lesser guys. It's the Corbin Bosches and those kinds of guys coming through are going to get more exposure through this, which is a good thing. That is a good thing. So I'm very happy for them. I just hope everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Yes. And then that's essentially what it is. It's a step in the right direction, and it will help our cricket. We just needed to go a little bit further than what it is, because it feels like we've put all our eggs in the basket when we've got parts of the organization and parts of our game that are dying in the community. And so that's quite important. But yeah, look, exciting. Harun Logod, wherever he is, he must be laughing hard or punching a wall, because what's the difference? Like, honestly, he's no different.
Man.
And but that's it. And yeah, look, that brings us to the end of our show, Tim. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week to discuss the end of the ODI series and probably the beginning of the T20 series, and to see whether the Proteas have done well. All the best to them. And they're playing Manchester. There's going to be a lot of rain around, so Keshav, the captain himself, is a very good captain. He's probably going to make the right decisions, and we trust him. We're all behind them. We're also behind the South African women as they prepare to go to the Commonwealth Games. Now it's T20. These ones matter because we want that medal. Get us any medal. Doesn't matter what color it is. We want a medal in this tournament. And so, yeah, all the best with the T20 series later tonight. It will be on our channel, One World Sports Radio. The team will be doing commentary, and then for the men's ODIs and stuff and series, we'll be taking their broadcast in collaboration with the Gorilla UK team. So please do watch out for that. Thank you very much, Tim. All the best. Goodbye. Good night, everybody. Le sale. Kaka.